In today's interest rate markets, let's take a look at the 10-year note futures today as they're realizing some selling pressure here for a second consecutive session. We are seeing in the middle of the 132 handle, 132.15, which is just off the lows of the session today. So initially we did see them higher, and then some selling pressure throughout the session and pushing them back down towards the low end of the range here for the last couple of days. And I think when you look at the reasons why we did see this price action today, number one, I think the equity market weakness from a global perspective overnight coming into the United States. We saw heavy selling pressure here to start the session in the equity markets. But then throughout the day, we did see the NASDAQ particularly recover nicely and able to basically close unchanged, maybe slightly higher on the session. But we cover all the losses earlier in the session. The S&P 500 future still down, but recovering and bouncing off the lows quite substantially, as were the other equity index markets. And that's when we did see the selling pressure kind of start to kick in a little bit in the 10-year futures markets. So I think that just that adjustment throughout the day was one of the driving factors. Number two, I think that the market appears to be setting up, I think, for the data points coming out starting tomorrow, CPI, PPI, and retail sales. All potential inflationary data points that the Fed probably will be watching to see how they unfold, and the market certainly trying to anticipate how the Fed's going to view that. And the third thing is we have auctions this week. We had $58 billion, I believe, of 3-year notes today. Tomorrow we'll have the 10-year auction, and then Thursday the 30-year auction. So the market's going to be focused on those results as well. So I think all these things are playing into the price action when you look at the 10-year note futures. Now, 162 basis points currently is the yield on the 10-year note. We did see a high, it started the day at 160, so up 2 basis points on the day, a low of 158. And then when you look at the entire futures curve today, we are seeing selling pressure from basically the 1-year all the way out to the 30-year as we move through the session. And with that, we are seeing yields moving higher. So yield curve shifting up a little bit throughout the session across the entire curve.